Thank you very much for a nice introduction. Now you probably can hear me better. I'll talk to you about our strategy for sharing information along 3 different channels, in persons and in print and online. This strategy was actually discussed way before I joined the organization, so I cannot take credit for the idea. The idea rests with our board, which had extensive discussions back in 2014 about how to make more effective use of our time and resources. The idea here is that when we gather patients and relatives for a meeting, then typically we get maybe 50 to 100 people, and we got more than 1,000 members. So we got to reach a very small proportion of our membership through the meetings. So we wanted to create something of value for these people that couldn't attend in persons. So the second option was we wanted to create something that we could use to get more members, i.e. have promotional material at the hematological department across the country. And also, thirdly, we wanted something that could be searched online, so that if potential new members could go to our website and find information that were relevant for their disease. So we started by outlining what we wanted to do, and then our chairman, Rita Christensen, had meetings with a number of Danish pharma companies, well, international pharma companies, I should say, because there's very few Danish ones, and tried to tell them about our idea with this project, that we wanted to actually engage a journalist and a photographer to capture what was going on at the in-person meetings, and then use that in a publication and also online so that we could reach out more people. So we started arranging disease-specific events around the country. I'll get back to that in a moment. And at these events, we had the journalists come and interview both the speakers and also some of the patients. So we got patient histories collected at the same time. And it developed also into some local experts, so that we could present information by the hematologist that some of the people in the audience had actually as a doctor. Now in Lyle we have quite a number of disease areas. We cover all the lymphomas, leukemias, MDS, which is also a number of different diseases, as the CML, as CLL. So the first year we said that we're going to take MDS and leukemia together for one meeting, because MDS patients have a chance of developing leukemias. And then we're going to have a separate meeting for lymphomas, including CLL. No, not including CLL. And a separate CLL meeting and a separate CML meeting. And that was very much loved by Pharma, because they could easily see themselves with a particular meeting that was of interest to them. So this resulted in various disease-specific publications, which we had absolutely no trouble getting funding for. Then local meetings with local experts covering everything, so that there was one doctor presenting information about all these different diseases, which resulted in more meetings. And actually, many members of the board was complaining that they had too much work to do. But it's also difficult to sell to pharma, and I'll get back to that in a moment. And then this year we decided that we would have parallel sessions about different diseases, and to avoid too high a cost for the event area, we have to limit ourselves to 3 different parallel sessions. And at this time we decided that lymphomas and CLL should go together, leukemias and MDS, and then CML by itself. Overall costs for the meetings were reduced, and also the publication cost, because we could cover in one publication several disease areas. And also the meetings became more relevant for the pharma companies that we are depending on to support for the meetings. However, there was one issue. They liked the first idea of having focused meeting on one disease area, because they could easily see themselves in the publication. And that is basically how we get Pharma support, because they can see themselves in the publication we create afterwards. We have had some discussions about services in kind for their support, like such as having a banner with their logo at the event, and also have them mentioned in the colophon on the printed publications. However, that has not been resolved completely yet, so it's still an ongoing discussion about how that's going to take place. The results is that now we have professional-looking articles that we can use as promotional material, and that we can present them both for in online and in print. And those that are not able to attend our meetings now have a chance to read about what happened at the meeting in the comfort of their home. And we can also add information that are not presented at the meeting. Typically, we don't cover our participation in conferences like this event and EHA and other events like that's being arranged. But those information we would like to communicate in print or online. Like, we are supported by the pharma industry and by some private foundation also. Companies like have no influence on our content of the magazine, and the publication at the moment do not contain any advertisements. Like, that's contrary to some like US-based organizations where there's advertisements for chemical trials in their publications. And I think that we have a common goal, that our goal and the pharma company's goal is that the patients be as well educated as possible to better participate in the treatment decision, that most of our diseases are involved, so that the patient understand their disease. And then just some conclusions. It's very important that the information that are presented in the meeting are not lost at the end of the day, and that those members that are unable to attend in person actually get some benefits from the meeting and from the membership fee. And then the searchable online repository at our website, www.lyle.dk, gives a resource which is kind of unique in Danish, that we have a patient resource like online like that. So we see our organization as a school for patients and relatives, more as just anything else. Okay, thank you very much.